So green tea, my man. So I know for me, I gave others' opinions too much power over me. So I felt I had to be perfect. And it's been hard to break that and know I only need to be concerned about one opinion, which is God's. So I think, I mean, I'll formulate a question out of it, man. What does it take to break that? Like, what does that journey and process look like? Transitioning from always being told by culture who you need to be, and then transitioning to like, oh, this is what God says about me, and I need to focus on that instead of giving my time to the opinions of culture for so long. Any thoughts?
Yeah. So I think it comes down to programming. So like so sometimes you like might know something to be true, but it's hard to act on it. And this is why in our coaching program, we kind of teach how to like zoom out and look at the things that program us and try to understand them so that we can reverse engineer it. And so in brief, what was it? What was it they were struggling with, Grape? It was others' opinions, right?
Yeah.
Of others.
Others' opinions. Yep.
So I call like the ABCs of programming. So you have the authoritative things. These are the people like bosses, parents, teachers that anyone you look up to as an authority. You got the big moments that happen, traumatic events, both good or bad. And then you have the constant things. And so, I mean, we just know culture and how that works. Like opinions are being thrown at you, judgment. So you have that, right, as a programming, and you might be in a hypersensitive environment that adds to that. For example, I think we talked about it. If it wasn't on the Truth Project, it was after it. Yes, last week, where pastors are often live in like a glass house where people are always watching, always have something to say, and that constant input could start to program you and have you. And again, it's not just one thing that can come in. You want to look at this holistically, and so you're like, yeah, but I constantly read my Bible. But if that's one part of your day in the morning, and then outside of that, you have other constant influences, you have authority over you that's really judgmental and reinforcing those beliefs, and you maybe have had some traumatic experiences in the past, your mind and your mind works in two different levels. You got the subconscious and the conscious. So subconsciously, you're wired, literally, the neural pathways in your brain are fixed and programmed to carry what people think. So with how I explain that, you got to reverse engineer it, man. You have to constantly go to the Truth Project, but also constantly block out some of those negative impact or those negative influences from culture. You got to get off some of the social media pages that are making you feel bad about yourself. Like you got to be diligent and see what's constantly coming in to program you.
Absolutely.
And then here's what's crazy. The more you do that, even if you've had some really bad traumatic events that have happened in the past, if you will be very diligent about what your constant input in your diet, surround yourself with some good, healthy authority, you'll have different big events that happen, like traumatic in a good way. You'll have big breakthroughs. You'll have big aha moments. You'll have long streaks that you'll go against addictions. And these will also help to reprogram you for the better. And so I call it the ABCs. Pay attention to the authority around you, any big traumatic events, and then also with your constant diet of input. And I think very practically, when you start attacking those, you'll notice that your programming actually shifts, and you'll start and we gotta overwhelm our problems like our problems overwhelm us. And so a lot of Bible, a lot of sermons, a lot of good fellowship with people that are Christ-like, you'll start to notice you're genuinely reprogrammed, and you start to look at the world closer to how God looks at it. And I think that's a lot more practical. Sometimes people just like, you got to spend time with God. And it's like, okay, I spent time with him, 10 minutes. It didn't work. Well, yeah, when you understand this and the programming and the process that it takes, it helps you be patient, and it helps you quantify the type of work that you got to do. Because if you're just doing a little bitty 5-minute Bible reading, but the rest of your day is toxic, well, no wonder. And so
the way to die to your flesh isn't to starve it, it's to feed the spirit.
That's right.
To feed the spirit. So keep coming to the text, keep getting poured in by it, keep coming to the resources that are filling you up. You're so filled up with so many things, and it's for years. And sometimes we think that it'll just be changed in a day. You act as if all these things that you've been poured into in years is just going to go away in a day, in 2 days, in 12 days. Like, nah, sometimes it's a little bit longer of a process depending on how long you've been programmed by that stuff. So I'm not saying it has to take 30 years for 30 years, but at the same time, there's a process, and you have to keep showing up. You have to keep showing up. I'm gonna steal a quote because it's been ringing in my mind. Preston Morrison on Tim Ross's podcast that I linked in the Truth Project Discord earlier this week. If y'all haven't listened to it, check it out. He says the best things in life take repetition. I have to keep showing up in order to see that transformation. And that, I think that is exactly what that says right there, man. And you'll do nothing but want more because you see the impact it's having on you. And then you see the richness it carries with people around you. I can't tell you how warming it does to my heart and spirit when I hear people that I've only known for a short period of time say that they've been able to witness God in my life. Like, what? In just that amount of time, you were able to see the heart and the genuineness, the truth. Like, you were able to witness all that in that amount of time, compared to what I'm used to hearing, man. People, never changing and continuously doing the same stuff and all that kind of. It's just like, it's a privilege, but that's all because you kept showing up. I want you to keep showing up. And you may not see that direct change in a day, in a week, in a month, maybe even a year. But the more you keep getting Jesus in you, as Dion mentioned, the more the other stuff will just bubble out of you. That's why things like pray the gay away don't work. Hello.
Wow.
Hello.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? That's why pray the lust away don't work. That's why all that other stuff that you be hearing don't work. Because people want you to just have these on fire, immediate transformation testimonies. I was this day, and then I was it. No, it was a process. I have to bear my cross every day. It ain't fun, but it's necessary.
Every day.
Because if I really want to live this life of freedom that Jesus grants, I have to do this. This is required, man. I got to. If I want to see some transformation, if I want to be that person that other people say they see in me, right? If I want to be that man of character, integrity, and values, if I want to be that man that shows up for his family, if I want to be that man that shows up for, I have to be able to engrave some of these disciplines in me, man. I have to. Otherwise, I'm going to fumble the bag and be back at square one, and always talking about how I could have and should have, and not take advantage of the opportunity I had to do it in the moment and watch that build and progress. So
my biggest challenge that I have with the culture today, especially for you young guys on here, is that everything is oftentimes just given to you through convenience. So anything that looks like work, y'all kind of like, oh, heck no. Like, this is not something I'm going to do. So we show up one time thinking, well, look at my effort, instead of the consistency. So that would be my biggest hurdle that I feel like a lot of you guys have to face, where while there's a lot of creativity, ingenuity, and a lot of new things that have been entered into the culture now, where some old people haven't, really, and older people haven't really picked up on that. We still have some good stuff that we've done, because we had some steady stuff. There was processes that we were like, no, you just got to go through that. Now it's just a part of it. So it's kind of, while it's faster, it kind of misses some elements of stick-to-itiveness. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I may not like it, and I may not do it with a smile on my face, but I'm obedient. That's just really what it is, man. Like, we don't have to act like it's fun all day. Like, we really don't. It's not fun. It's not always fun to have to sit down and do some studies and some extensive studies or some reading and some stuff like that. It's a part of that process of always showing up is you might have to it might have to seem like a something you're doing, going out of your way to do. It may have to seem like that for a minute because it's uncomfortable, something you're not used to. But the more you keep coming, the more results are available for you, man. And you'll see it. Maybe not now, but you'll see it at some point. You'll see it in some area of your life, and you'll be grateful. Like the you 20 years from now, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, will be so thankful that you took the time now to start investing and pouring into yourself that way. Because the way this culture is trajecting, man, it's only getting worse. It's only getting worse.